Hello friends, my name is Steve and this is Steve Talks Books. Thanks for coming by and watch my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, stuff that's going on the channel, and other fun topics. If you're new here, I want to thank you for coming by. It's been a busy few months, so all of you new people who come by to support me, I want to say thank you again. So I primarily read grimdark horror, fantasy, but I'll read anything, but primarily it's been grimdark and horror lately. It's just been kind of the flavor I've been enjoying most recently. So you may also notice that there's lots of conversation and interview videos on the channel, lots of long form content lately. That wasn't intentional, it just worked out that way. But I do love talking to people. I love getting to know people, getting to know their history, hearing their stories, their experiences. All that's really fascinating to me. So I hope you enjoy that as well. All of the long form content that I do on the channel is also available on the podcast. Just click the link down below and then you can go to your favorite podcasting platform and listen or download it from there. So it's available there. I know it's hard to sit in front of YouTube for a long time because, YouTube. And because it was such a busy week, most of my week was taken by The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. It's a thick book. There's lots of information in it. And looking back, I don't know that it was such a great decision to read this right after Guardians of the Moon, but why not? So that's been most of my week. It's dense. There's been times when I'll read a sentence or a paragraph and I'll stop and I'll reread it 5 or 6 times sometimes, just because it's such a great sentence or paragraph or whatever it is, and I just find myself rereading sections of it because I enjoy it so much. And this experience of reading Guardians of the Moon and The Darkness That Comes Before has changed my perspective on fantasy. It's changed my perspective on my own reading habits, on the way that I interpret different types of stories. It's been an eye-opening experience that I was not expecting at all. And even though Guardians of the Moon is it was still a challenge for me, I think it has really changed the way I view a lot of things. I didn't expect it to happen that way, but it just has. And I want to thank all of you who commented on that video about how we absorb text. And it's really fascinating how everyone has a different take on that subject. So thanks to all of you who came by to comment on that video. Was not expecting it to get the views it's gotten at all. So it's been a pleasant surprise. I've also been chipping away at a collection of obsessions. It's the Pick for Short Stories Saturday. We're reading this book, and then we're having a chat with Michael R. Fletcher on the last Saturday of the month to discuss each story in the book. So if you're able to, there's still time to hop on. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. So we'll give it a read and then come and chat with us either on stream or in the chat. After that, I hope to get into Hall of Bones. It's been on my list of just these last 2 books have been, they've been a lot slower than the books I previously read. So I got behind a little bit on schedule, but Hall of Bones is the next book on my list to read. So I hope to get to that this week as well. Don't have too many things going on this week, so fingers crossed. So like I mentioned, last week was a really long week, really busy, lots of stuff going on. A lot of it just kind of fell together. I don't know how these things just happen sometimes organically, and it's just comes to be, and it's crazy. But lots of fun, but pretty busy week. I did have the Peter Mclean interview. He's the author of Priest of Bones, or the War for the Rose Throne series. That was a blast. I love Priest of Bones. It was my first grimdark book, so I have a soft spot in my heart for that book. So it was great to talk to Peter and pick his brain, and just such a fun time. I also had the Heart, Strange, and Dreadful review that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's a great historical horror book, and it's not too gory. There are a couple of gory parts, but it's not. It's more of like a quiet horror type of style. It's more character-driven and plot-driven than the focus on horror, but the horror is definitely there. So it's a really great read. I also had the interview with Adrian Selby. He's the author of The Winter Road, and that was another just wonderful conversation we had. And before we start, I always think, well, about an hour is what I usually plan on. Sometimes sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's longer. It just depends on how it flows. And before I knew it, Adrian and I were coming up on 2 hours. The time just flies by. I just lose track of the time sometimes. So, but that was another great one, and I'll get to more about those two authors here in a minute. We also had a Grimdark Gathering. This kind of fell together, just kind of like a last minute thing, and it was another one of those times when I asked a few people, "Would you be interested in doing this?" and thinking a few of them would say no, and they all said yes. And in the last minute, I emailed Mark from Slowly Read and was like, "Hey, we can't have a Grimdark Gathering without you. So if you can make it, we'd love to have you." And he made it. So it was really neat to get so many grimdark authors and bloggers and reviewers and booktubers in one place. Just really fun. Another great time. Uh, I had to pinch myself in that one. I just tried to stand back and not say anything stupid and just absorb all the goodness that everyone there had to say. I did record the Anthony Self interview. He's the author of Birthday Treat. This is his second time coming by, and this is the first time I had no questions prepared. I did not have anything written down. I did not have really just a plan in my mind for this one. Anthony, the first time he came, we just really hit it off. I mean, we just can talk for hours and hours about anything. And this time, I thought, I'm not the type to go into things like that unprepared. I'm always really prepared. But this time I just didn't feel like I had to have anything written down. I just felt like it's going to work. It's going to work out. And I didn't have anything written down, which is really strange. Like I said, I usually have my notebook here with all my questions on it, and even some questions on the side, some oh shit questions I don't know what to say, questions on the side that, I might have to go to once in a while. But I didn't, we just chatted for an hour and a half. Really just really, it's always a pleasure to talk to Anthony, and I love Birthday Treat. So it's a great book. And then, of course, yesterday we had the Gardens of the Moon discussion with a group of really great people. And I'm so glad that this is happening the way it has, because I would be really lost and not having these people to ask questions and kind of just chat about the book and just break it down a little bit. And so I'm really fortunate to have so many great people that are willing to read this with me. We are continuing with the series with Dead House Gates. We're trying to find a date. We're not sure on a date yet, but that'll be another live stream. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. This week on the channel, I am having a shade spoiler-filled discussion with author Chad Nicholas. If you would like to join on stream, RSVP on the forum. It's on our event calendar, and I will post the StreamYard links there on the calendar so you can join and chat with Chad about the book. And I do have a new series starting this week. It is with author Joseph Sale. It's called Heretical Investigations. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But we're going to meet about once a month to discuss different topics, different literature, writing, other topics. It'll be a live stream. And this week we are discussing meaning in literary work. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So drop by if you're able to have a chat with us. And Joseph is the guy is just brilliant. I love talking to him. I always soak up all this information from him. And so it's always great talking to him and having, hearing him break down literature and writing, and it's just really great. So really looking forward to that. So hope you can drop by and watch and chat with us, at least if you don't want to join on stream. That is also on the event calendar. So let me know if you are interested in joining on stream to chat with us about that topic. Later this week, I have an interview with author Anna Smith Spark, which I'm really excited about. And I'm also chatting with author Tim Hardy, another author I'm really excited about. And just a reminder, our short story Saturday pick is a collection of obsessions. That'll be next Saturday. We'll be chatting with author Michael R. Fletcher about each story in that book. So again, no books this week. The dry spell continues. What are you going to do? I'll get one of these days. I probably need to remind everyone, hey, I'll talk about your book just for fun. So also I wanted to announce that we do have a winner for the contest last week to pick a title for the upcoming series with P.L. Stewart and I. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who submitted names. There were so many great names. It was really, really tough, and I'm not just saying that to be polite. There were so many great names. We narrowed it down, and we finally decided on one. And the winner for the $20 Amazon gift card goes to Pax Panic. We did select Page Chewing. So the new series that P.L. Stewart and I are starting here in a few weeks will be called Page Chewing, and we'll have some random guests to chat about fantasy and writing and books and stuff. And we already have the first 4 or 5 ones planned. We're into April. We already have stuff planned into April with so many great authors, and we're talking with authors from the UK. We're talking with authors from North America. PL is just going crazy, and he's able to get all these awesome guests lined up. So it's working out really well. So Pax Panic, DM me or contact me with your wish list or which books you want. So I was asked recently about Friday Conversations, what happened to Friday Conversations. So I think I just want to give a quick mention to that. With the holidays, with New Year's and Christmas landing on Fridays, I believe they landed on Fridays. The holidays didn't work out, so I decided to put it on ice during the holidays, and I'd restart it. And I did have Beverly Banbury on the week after that. That's when I was getting sick. I had COVID. I was just on the onset of that, and I was knocked out for a couple weeks. I did have a couple of people I contacted, just kind of filling them out, and they're like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Like, I'd love to." I said, "Okay, well, how do these dates sound?" And then it was crickets, and never heard back. So, which is fine. It's cool. I got a little discouraged and kind of like, well, maybe I'll just put it on ice for a little while. So I am thinking about doing it once in a while. It may not be a weekly thing. Something I've been throwing around lately is just having like a meetup on Friday nights sometimes with content creators or whoever wants to join. Just jump on, unwind from the week, have a chat, and more of like an open floor type of thing. So let me know what you all think of that. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about that had just come up this last week. The first thing is that we're going to be reading the War for the Rose Throne series together starting in April. So in April, we're going to read Priest of Bones. They're shorter books, so it may not be one a month. It may be a little sooner than that. But Yulene is reading with me. I'm not sure who else is just yet. But Yulene Reeds and I are going to be reading the whole series. And then at the end, we're going to have a chat with author Peter Mclean about the entire series. I was a little nervous to ask him because once the interview stopped, I did ask him, once we stopped recording, I asked him, would you be interested in doing something like this? I hate asking like that because he just spent an hour with me and then I'm asking him for more of his time. But he was really excited about doing it, which pleasantly surprised me because he said he wanted to have just a full spoiler chat about it because he wasn't able to talk about it. Obviously, he doesn't want to spoil the series for any of us. So we're going to be reading Priest of Bones in April, and then we don't have a date yet planned, but it'll probably be in a couple months that we'll have that chat with Peter. So anyone's welcome to join. Check our forums and the event calendar and on the threads that we have going for that series. If you're interested, let us know. If you're interested, I think Hans may be reading with us as well. Another thing I'm really excited about is after my interview with Adrian Selby, I asked him if he'd be wanting to do a deep dive into one of his books, maybe The Winter Road, which is right there. So we're going to meet in a month or two to chat The Winter Road with Adrian Selby. Again, it's open to anyone who wants to join. You can join on stream. You can join in the chat. But again, let us know. We have threads in the forum on that. So we're going to dive deep into that book. So something I've been throwing around for a while is reading short stories on the podcast. Just reading a short story and posting it for authors. And I wasn't sure how all that worked. But I put out a feeler on social media, like, hey, would you be interested in this, either submitting or listening? And the response was, I couldn't keep up with how many responses I had. So now, of course, the pressure was a little bit, the pressure started to build a little bit to do it. But I did pick a couple of short stories to start with. The first one I did was The Parasite. It's by H.B. Diaz from Nocturne, a collection of dark tales. It's one of my all-time favorite books. So the fact that H.B. Diaz was willing to let me read that story on the as the first episode was such a treat. And I'm not happy with. I don't think I'll ever be happy with the way it sounds, just because I'm picky about that stuff. I like I want it to be perfect because I want it to represent her work. So I think The Parasite is about 3/4 of a page, and I must have read that thing so many times because I just wasn't happy with the way it sounded. So I kept trying. It's kind of like, okay, I need to stop because I'm never going to be 100% pleased with it. So I had to pick the best one and go with it. So I'm going to be reading more short stories on the podcast. If you haven't already, check that one out. It's like 40 seconds long. It's really short. But I have a couple other short stories that I'm going to do first, and then I'll get into the longer ones if anyone just is interested in that. And let me know if am I wasting my time, or is this something that anyone is wanting to hear. The longer stories makes me a little nervous because I think it'd be a lot of takes, and there's a lot that I didn't think about once I got into the process and recording and editing and all that stuff, I realized like, well, this might take a while. So I don't want to spend the time if no one cares. So let me know if it's something that you're interested in. The first one, the Parasite, like I said, is on the podcast. Go check that out if you're interested. It's really short. So how are you doing? What's going on in your world? How did you do last week? Do you have anything fun planned for this week? Let me know down below what you have going on, what you have planned. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? I'm always curious to hear what all of you are up to. And I did want to ask you all a question about DNFing books and giving a rating, because I was skimming through some reviews and I noticed that people leave a review, like a 1-star review for a book, and the comment is DNF'd 30% in, just skimmed it, 1 star. This book sucks. It's like, well, so I'm curious, like if you skimmed a book and you DNF'd it, why leave it a 1 star? That didn't make sense to me. So I wanted to ask all of you, if you do DNF a book, do you leave a rating? And if you do leave a rating, is there a certain percentage that you have to get through before you leave a rating, like a negative rating for a book that you DNF? Or do you not read a book if you DNF it because you don't know how it ends? So let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'm curious, maybe it's just me, but it didn't really make sense to give a 1-star review for a book you skimmed 30% through. So if you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our forum. That's where we plan all of these crazy shenanigans we have going on. We also have the event calendar there. We have blogs. You can post your videos. There's a bunch of stuff. Blogs are open to anyone who wants to start a blog there. It's just start your own blog there. I have been posting some reviews and stuff there, and I did post a Mark Lawrence interview. He let me send a few questions over, and he responded with his answers. So I posted that over there today. So go check that out if you're curious about Mark Lawrence. It was like 10 questions long, and I started to doubt my question abilities a little bit after that one. So if you've read that interview, you might know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so other than the forum, I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm not sure about Facebook just yet. I have the podcast, of course, so check that out. All the long form content is there on the podcast. So if you feel like you can't keep up with YouTube, it's there to download. You can download the file, or you can pick your podcasting platform of choice. That's kind of nice. I'm also on Vero. That's where I post my personal stuff, is Vero. I love that platform. I think it's great. I do have a personal Instagram account, and I have a book-focused Instagram account. And Instagram just seems kind of strange to me. It seems very limited. I don't know. It's okay. There's some fun people there, and I get it, but it's hard to keep up. I think I mentioned this last week, and I've gotten to the point where I just can't keep up. And I always feel like I want to interact with everyone, and I just don't have the time on all these different platforms. I just don't have the time for it, but I'm trying to keep up. And also I'm trying to keep up with all the YouTube videos, with all of your videos. It's tough. I'm really trying to keep up. So if you haven't seen me commenting lately, it's just been crazy, but I'll try to catch up on everyone's videos. It's hard to keep up. I'm trying to keep up. So again, thank you for watching. I always appreciate you stopping by, saying hello, interacting. I know that all of you were busy, so for you to take some time out of your day to come and hear me ramble about books and other stuff, I appreciate it. You can be doing anything else, and you're here watching me talk about books. So thank you, and thank you all of you for your support. It's been a really productive few months. I think I've been trying to be smarter about the content and kind of spread things out, and I don't always do a great job at that. And I'm trying to look at all that stuff and be better. Sometimes, like a week like this week, things just fell together a certain way, and I couldn't spread things around the way I wanted to give all of you time. I think I posted a video every day but one day, which crazy. Anyway, thank you again for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. So until next time, I will talk to you soon.